Is an organization that came together to try and empower people physically, emotionally, economically, and mentally. Poverty comes from the mind. And so we try to empower people, to empower us economically, mentally, and emotionally, so that when we do that, then holistically you are looking for how can I not stay in poverty. That's what we do as Household of Love. We encourage people also not to allow people to put badges on you. Mostly we deal with women because a lot of women have been looked down upon in the sense that when a marriage is going wrong, in most cases, it's the mistake of the woman. When a woman has gotten children and they don't have children, a husband, you hear people saying she's a single parent. We in Household of Love believe that whether you are single, married, whether you have children or no children, whether you have a degree or no degree, you are an important person, a very important person. What makes you is not your credentials. What makes you is not what kind of car you drive or whether you drive a car or not. What makes you is not which tribe you come from. That's who Household of Love is. So our main core value is unconditional love. You love people not because they are brown or not because they have money, you just love. And so when we come together, we encourage one another to love one another. But we also talk about issues that we go through in life. Because there are a lot of issues that you see that cause people to either kill themselves or kill other people. And so that's why Household of Love came to be. I'm a counselor by profession. I used to be an administrator, but I'm a counselor by profession. And so that's why the issues of the heart matter to me very, very much. And so why we are here today is to talk about one of the issues that concerns us, and that is food security. And to just say that hiyo usalama wa chakula iko kwa katiba ya Kenya. It is in the Constitution. In fact, I feel like reading what exactly it says in the Constitution. We have Article 43, which deals with economic and social rights. And I'm going to read the Article 43(1) and C, which says, every person has the right to be free from hunger and to have adequate food of acceptable quality. Now, many of us don't know that it is in the Constitution. It is there. However, one of the things that has been observed is that even though the Constitution took care of the fact that we need to have food security, sometimes we don't have the environment of working because everyone is expected to work so that their livelihood gives them money in order to be able to buy that food. Sometimes we are in an environment where we are not able to do that for ourselves. And so that's one of the things that we are here to discuss. Few weeks, we've tried to talk about that, but using pictures. We have something that we call photo voice. When you came in, you must have seen some pictures on the walls. And the method that we've been using is something we call photo voice. There are people here in Kibra who are in the photo voice in Kibra. Please stand. And then from Korogosho, the ones who need photo voice, Jana. Okay, you can have your seats. Now, basically, we try to talk, to put a voice to pictures. Why do we do that? Because most people will always remember images. You can tell somebody something, but if you had put it on a picture, they will remember. And so what do? We go out and get people to take pictures. So we put people in groups, and every group we give them 2 cameras. Then they go around, take pictures that make sense to them, and they explain what that picture means. Why do they do that? Because all of us come from different backgrounds. If I see this picture, I will tell you something totally different from what Phoebe will say, because we see things differently. So we take that photo. After you've taken the photo, you narrate. This is what the photo is saying. What you are doing is basically, you are putting a voice to that photo. So you can say, there is food, but there's no hygiene. Like some people are talking about when we went to Roger yesterday, some people are saying, you know what, where it is good, there is a sewer, there is this, you know, and so you put a photo or a voice to the photo that you've taken. So picture ni kitu muhimu sana ya kutusaidia kusema ile tunataka kusema. So that is what Household of Love has decided to be using kuongea mambo ya food security. And so we did that here 2 weeks ago here in Kibra, and we did that in Gorogosho yesterday. And so it helps us to explain what food security is. Again, a month ago, in the month of September, we met together and we were trying to ask ourselves, how can we help ourselves? Because food security, there's a responsibility for the government, there's a responsibility for the individuals. And so we were thinking to ourselves, what is it that you can do? What, that which you do very well, how can you use it to help you have a livelihood that does not leave you happy? And so we discussed that and were put in groups, and everyone was being asked, what do you do? However, what more can you do in order to earn money? And that's what we did in the month of September. Now, I introduced the rest of us, and I deliberately left out one group, and that is HOLC. And the reason I left them out is because we're expecting somebody else from HOLC, and that is Elizabeth Kimani. Elizabeth is the one who is supporting us to be here today. We are working in collaboration with Elizabeth, and basically with HOLC. And so, maybe she will tell us something. I know I'm not pushing you.
Habari zenu? Nimefurahia sana kukuja leo na nimechelewa kidogo. Poleni sana. Nimepotea kidogo hapa na pale, lakini kwa hapa. Tumefurahia sana kuungana na ninyi kufanya hii mradi, na tunatarajia itakuwa itawasaidia na itusaidie pia. So ni nzuri sana kuwa na ninyi leo, na natarajia tutaendelea kuungana kufanya hii kazi. So I hope watu wamesikia hii mambo ya chakula, haki ya chakula. Kuna mtu amesikia? Wapi? Hapa tu. Kabla ukuja hapa umesikia? Okay. So mimi naitwa Elizabeth Kimani. Nafanya na HOLC, African Population and Health Research Center. Tumefanya sana utafiti na hapa Nairobi. Lakini hapa Kibera hatujafanya sana, lakini ni nzuri tumeanza kuungana na nyinyi ndio tufanye hii kazi. Mimi ni mtafiti, lakini pia niko nafanya hii kazi ya public engagement. Asante. Swahili when I came, but I realized it's okay to speak in English. So first, we are very grateful for all that we have been discussing today, for your availability for discussing. And this is just a beginning, I hope, for everyone. It's the beginning. Or maybe it's a continuation of what you've been doing. But we want you to go, tell mom, tell dad, tell the people around you about this right to food, right? Some of you said it was the first time you are hearing about the right to food. We want everyone to know in your communities that we have a right to food. And one key thing we also want them to know is that the right to food is not the right to be fed, it's the right to feed ourselves in dignity. What does that mean? It means that everyone has a role. You have a role as the community, as an individual, to ensure that you realize this right is realized. Do your role. You have been discussing about your role. Do your role, and then demand from the government for what is their obligation. You have been told about the Constitution, Article 43 of the Constitution talks about this right. Go read it. You can access the Constitution through the internet, right? You can, online. Read the Constitution, know what it says, know what the obligation of the government is, and ensure that you demand for that right. So everyone has a role, so that you know the government can support you to be able to feed yourself in dignity. And that's what Madam Elizabeth has been talking about. What can the government help us in? At least they can support us with technical knowledge, guide us on how we can help ourselves, and there are other avenues that you can get other support. So ensure you look out and see how you can be supported. But ensure that you feed yourself in dignity. Feed your families in dignity. That's the right to food. Thank you.
First question, what has the government done to ensure that the right to food has been met?
Actually, the government that's why now the president is following the Big Four about food security. What we have done, one, it has invited the technical officers, the extension workers, to meet to advise the farmers on the modalities of how they can be food secure. That is one. Number two, we extension officers from the government, we have been having individual farmers, we have been having farming groups. They are common interesting groups, specifically if it's vegetable, if it's small animals like rabbit, they are formed and they have started growing such activities, and also value addition to make sure that even if you don't have a space, you can have an income generating activity which can have money to go and access the food. That's how we actually really provide them with the information, who's passing them the messages of how they can be food secure, also crop production. We show them how to do farming through demonstrations, through trainings, and through value additions. Yeah.
Okay. And you, as a county rep for agriculture, what would you like the people to know? What would you like the common Wananchi to know about the right to food?
What I would like Wananchi to do, number one, they should not waste food. We really waste a lot of food. If you go to Mudura, you see a lot of wastage food. And whatever is wasted there, it can also build again to be a food security. In this sense, that wastage they can use waste management method to make charcoal, which eventually they will just sell and buy food. Also, they can also make a fertilizer, which will improve their soil fertility, and they will actually be food secure. That means some of the activities which they can now start. Also, environmental issues like planting of trees. Like now it is raining. they can have groups, even individual, and make nurseries, and the one is 10 shillings, 5. By the end of the rainy season, that person will have money. That money will just buy food, and then be food secure.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's very nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's all.
Ready when you're ready.
1, 2, 3. My name is Winfred Mweni. I'm a member of the household. It has been a great pleasure working with the Route to HRC on right to food. As we mixed with the Kibera people, with the community from Morogosho, I realized that people know that we have a new constitution, but they do not know that we as Kenyans are assured the right to food within the constitution. And therefore, it has been quite a great experience to see participants just getting items. Happy to know that the right to food is enshrined within the constitution, but above everything, exploring ways in which they can guarantee themselves this right to food. Within this session, we were able to discuss what are the barriers to right to food at a household level, and the participants were able to identify critical things like conflict between parents who are the livelihood providers for the household. They were able to identify health issues that divert income to household income to healthcare. They were able to identify barriers such as lack of employment. At community level, just the actions of an individual, like a man who decides to rape or to attack early in the morning, causing conflict, insecurity, how that affects households from accessing their right to food. Because women are scared of being raped, they are scared of being attacked in the morning, and when they are actually attacked, they are robbed of their money. It is just nice to see communities saying we need to dialogue, we need to provide security for one another, and more so issues of tribalism, that certain communities cannot buy products from other communities, came up to the fore. And who would have thought that at this point in Kenya there are areas where we strictly can't buy, within the slums, within such a cosmopolitan community, we can't buy food from one another just because these people belong to different communities. It's like an eye-opener. We realize that we don't really understand the community dynamics within the slums. So it was nice to see members of communities appeal to one another to enforce dialogue, to discuss, to agree, to love one another, and therefore reach out to one another, because any businessman needs everyone else to buy from them. Finally, we also discussed barriers at policy level, and what participants said they would want to see the government do more and more is ensure that basic food commodities are accessible. That may mean tax relief, subsidy provision. They also talked about enforcing security so that every Kenyan can work in peace and can be assured of their daily bread, because they have an environment that enables that. And they also talked about those in positions of authority enforcing the law, so that there's an environment that enables what we are not to be taken away by the corrupt. Thank you very much.
When you're ready.
Yeah. So we've been talking to people about, we have been engaging people about the right to food, and we are telling them that the right to food is not the right to be fed, it's the right to feed themselves in dignity. And what this means is that they must take their responsibility as people, as communities, to ensure that they actualize this right to food. But they must also demand their rights, the government to actually take their responsibility. The government has obligation to ensure that this right is actualized, and the government can support people to be able to feed themselves in dignity. And so that's the kind of engagement we are having with them. So this engagement has been, people tell us what can they do for themselves, and they tell us what do they think that the government can do for them to support them to be able to feed themselves in dignity. And so we are saying everyone must take their own responsibility. The people to feed themselves, to feed their families, the government to support them. Thank you.
The community needs to take their responsibility. One, because I come from the household of love who believe in family, we would urge mothers and fathers to have a good relationship so that it does not hinder them from communicating and thus causing loss of security food-wise. And so parents need to be in good relationship for the sake of their children. They need to put aside any selfishness so that our children are always in a conducive environment and our children are always secure food-wise. The government also needs to communicate the fact that they are able to train people, to support people to be more food secure. It is a message that is very silent. So sometimes people do not know that they can be trained, they can be given certain skills. So the government needs to come out and help the community or the society know what they are able to do. The community needs to, like women need to come together, come up with income generating projects so that they can work together and make money really so that they feed their families. And so it's a collective responsibility. It's for the community, it's at family level, and it is for the government. So we all need to partner together so that we can be secure. And that cannot be done with selfishness. I think that a lot of what is not happening is because the society can be selfish, communities are selfish, the government can be selfish, people individually can be selfish. So we need to do away with the selfishness so that we can curb this